Today is our first episode of our series about diving into the search for spirituality. We've done our research, rounded up the facts, and asked the hard questions. Are you trying to figure out what truth is, or are you just trying to figure out what works best for you?
Okay, team, welcome back to the Anchor of the Week, where we have hard conversations, hear people's stories, and challenge perspectives.
Yes. I'm Courtney.
And this is Zach. Yep, we've got to introduce ourselves, obviously. Team, we are starting a new series today, and we are excited about this one. It's not something we know loads about, but we're excited to find out more and have people on and challenge and have good, hard conversations with people. Yeah.
Or I feel like we do know quite a bit about it, but from one specific side of it.
Yeah.
So
not what other people think. Yeah.
Here's to having those hard conversations.
Yeah. But what we're going to dive into this next series is the idea of the whole spiritual realm of the world. And basically how people are searching for that and kind of what they're searching, why, and yeah.
What are they finding?
Yeah, and how they're doing things, basically.
Yeah.
Because we've realized that this is a really big growing gig, isn't it? That we're seeing everywhere
Big
now.
time.
And I feel like we've shifted, and I know we've talked about this before, but we've shifted from kind of the idea that there is no God and there's no kind of bigger being, if you like, or something bigger out there. But now I think people are like, okay, like there is something, but they're searching for that in different ways, aren't they? And it's a lot more spiritual, a lot more kind of to do with what's going on internally. And
well, interesting you say that, because while we were doing research for this, right, guys, this is the intro episode. We're gonna have some awesome guests on to kind of again hear people's experiences. So stay tuned for the next couple weeks. But while doing research for this specific episode, we found that because mental health has become, an emotional well-being has become such a I guess less taboo thing, even in medicine and things like that. You know, you go to the doctor, it's okay, like, you know, here's a prescription, but also here's a reference or referral to a therapist, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of like that mixing and that merging of like physical well-being and emotional and mental well-being is kind of opening us all up to this idea that, okay, like we are not just physical anymore, you know? I mean, anymore. Were we ever? No.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, and like that cultural shift almost.
Yeah.
And that is making us more spiritually aware because we're becoming more aware of, I think our inner being and that kind of stuff.
What's going on? Yeah. I mean, we see it in the whole crystals game. I mean, I feel like that's really not the right way to put it, but
the crystals gang.
The crystal game.
Gang.
No. The whole crystals thing and the whole like tarot cards and stuff like that. And we know a room where it's used to like, I don't know what's done, but some songs are sung and some
gong
dancing.
bath meditation.
Yes, gong bath meditation. Yeah.
I still don't fully know what it is, but it's, again, that's like airwave healing, you know, like frequencies, that kind of thing. Yeah. There's so much.
Yeah. And I even believe like the whole thing of like, you know, your own truth and stuff like that, that is super related to this whole spiritual realm as well, because people are very much, okay, what works for me? And they're discovering and they're trying to look for kind of, my truth. And like we've discussed.
And you guys know how we feel about relative truth.
Yeah.
Our favorite topic that we somehow incorporate into every single series and an episode. But
it's good.
It's so good.
Yeah. What do you think? So I guess one of the first things we want to talk about is why people are searching and what they're searching for.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a big key to underline. Okay, like sure, we want to look into the practices and how and what they're doing, but they essentially need to answer a question in their life, right? Something that's lacking.
Yeah.
What do you think that is?
Well, I mean,
on a little bit on the spot, but I know we've discussed it a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I think people are like, as we're becoming more self-aware as a society in general, people are realizing that like, okay, like I am clearly not enough, like as I am, you know, whether that's because of mental health things, emotional health, whatever, you know, we're becoming, again, as we said, more introspective, more self-aware. And I think everyone can, you know, if we're being honest with ourselves, we realize that we lack in some area, you know, that we're not enough, we don't measure like a certain standard. And so I think that this is all like rooted in trying to find something that makes me then enough, you know, so it gives me that fulfillment, right? Like, I mean, you guys know Zach and I, what we believe, right? We are Christians, not a shock to anyone. And where we would say like, okay, like God then comes in and he's enough, you know, in my lack. I feel like spirituality in its kind of more general, I don't know, buzzwordy sense is what can then I do to become enough. So that's meditating more, whether that's aligning my chakras, whether that's going to gong bath meditation, you know, to something my frequencies. I don't know what you're supposed to do with your frequencies.
No,
So, high, low, good, bad. I'm not sure, but like
we'll find out.
we'll hopefully find out
What it's supposed to mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me and like my understanding of it, yeah. And I think that is also how we can be like compassionate and empathetic as well for people that are searching. Cause I think it's so easy to be like, oh, okay, like you're into whatever, but I believe in this and you know, like you have it wrong. You know, like, do I believe in crystals? No. You know, but I'm not gonna go and be like, I don't know.
Shame him about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like we're all human and we're all realizing that we have a lack. And so we're going down the path that's in front of us.
Yeah.
Is that always healthy? Is that always good? Is that always right? Is that always truth? No.
No, but I think it's a really good thing to be searching. And I think, like, you know, as we have people on and as we, even just on conversations with people on the streets, you know, I feel like that's such a good thing. I don't know. It's not, I know that, you know, we would say that they're not looking in the right place and they're not finding the right solution. But the idea that they're looking for something, that is a huge thing. Now, I love that we've progressed on from the idea that God is silly. The idea of a God or the idea of something bigger or the idea of there being spiritual stuff is silly. So now we've come to a place where, okay, there's clearly something.
Yeah.
Now people are like searching for that. And I really personally think that obviously people are going to steer very far away from Christianity because the idea of a God means the idea of rules and sets of things you have to follow and, you know, maybe traditions, whatever else is attached to that. Which is a shame that that's people's perspectives. But I feel like, just a side note, I think people very naturally will just get away from that. But
well, that's because I think like religion for so long was that kind of exclusive, very hard line, you know, so if people were searching for something, that's not what they wanted. Is this time a good time to pull up the Venn diagram?
Go for it. Yeah.
We have charts and graphs and everything, but I like this one. It's a Venn diagram of spirituality and religion. But it was really interesting for us to see the overlaps, but also I feel like this is exactly in line with what you were saying, right? Mm-hmm. So like the questions of spirituality are where do I find meaning? How do I feel connected? How should I live? The questions of religion are what practices, rites, or rituals should I follow? What is right and wrong? What is true and false? And then they share, like their common things are, well, we end up with, I guess, belief, comfort, reflection, ethics, and awe. Like those are the things that we're looking for, you know? We want to believe in something. We want to be comforted by something. Yeah. We want to reflect, you know? We want to have some sort of moral ethic, you know? But it's really interesting how, as you said, like the religion side of things is very like, what can I do necessarily to kind of keep me in check? Yeah. Where the spirituality is like all about yourself. Yeah. Still, you have to do things, you know what I mean? Like, where do I find meaning? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's very, I mean, every question has I in it, doesn't it? And obviously, I guess you have to find truth. So, yeah, but it's just interesting how the answers are matched with like you, right? Yeah. But we weren't at the start of when we were created, right? So the idea of like truth or that final missing piece or kind of that underlying base is about us. That doesn't make sense for me, but it'd be interesting to see what people think. But it's just really interesting how the whole spirituality thing, because I know, you know, again, from my conversations with people, it's very much, how does this make me feel, and connecting from that personal level. And I think that's why spirituality and things like that are so attractive for people, because from what I understand, and again, this is not from, I don't know the dead truths about what the New Age movements and all this other gong bath stuff, but
well, that's what we decided to focus on today.
I mean, there's loads of other examples,
many.
But all of it just feels like you're kind of just trying to find something that fits you almost, right? And that's what you're going to be content with, and that's when you've been like, okay, I found what works for me, because I found what fits my life almost. And it's a tough concept for me to get my head around a little bit, but it's super interesting. There's something so there's something that we read, this is only about the States, so a little bit tough one, but so it says in total about half American adults have changed religious affiliation at least once during their lives. And then it says most people who change their religion leave their childhood faith before age 24, and many of those who change religion do so more than once. So it just highlighted to me, it was like, okay, people are like changing religions.
Yeah.
And I know before 24, okay, you're at an age where I guess you're trying to figure out. So that makes sense.
Making your own decisions and making,
But even beyond that, you're still chopping and changing a bit. Like people do it more than once. So yeah, I don't know. It's like really interesting for me. So it's like, okay, you're trying to figure out, are you trying to figure out what truth is, or are you trying to figure out what you best feel?
What works best for you.
Yeah, what works best for you.
Yeah.
Don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something I for sure want to pull up with people, because if you're trying to find what's best for you, how consistent or constant can that?
Because that will change as you change as a person, as we just saw, you know.
And as we said before on this podcast, basing things off of feelings is a tough area.
Yeah.
Touchy, yeah. I don't know. Don't know.
But I guess, what is your end goal, though? If you're searching for spirituality, what is your end goal? Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's the question we need to ask people. Is it to find truth, to find why you're created, or is it to, you know, feel better about yourself? Or that sounds so like selfish. I don't mean that in like a bad way necessarily, you know what I mean? But is it more along that lines, you know, to feel like you have purpose, to feel like, or is it I want to know what's real, you know? Or like, I feel like if we look at like, okay, what's the big question we want answered about our search in spirituality, we'll be able to kind of see better where it's coming from.
Yeah. There's this magician who I listened to this podcast recently. I don't know if I've talked to you about this. And he had this magician on. Oh, he's not a magician actually, but he's
like a stuntman. I feel like he's like more of like a David Blaine kind of like.
Darren Brown, is that his name? I think that's his name.
I don't know. I didn't recognize him.
He's quite famous.
You said he was a comedian. He's not.
Oh yeah, he's not a comedian. No, but he does. Okay, I don't know.
He's funny.
Like an entertainer. Entertainer.
This is the word.
Yeah. Because I feel like he does a couple different things.
Okay.
Not that anyone needs to know or cares, but so but one of the things he grew up as, I think he was a Christian. I'm not saying any of this, but grew up as a bit of a Christian, as a Christian, and then kind of steered away from it, and then I don't know what he believes in now, but he got into magic, and it wasn't even magic. It was more like the whole mind games and a little bit of spirituality.
Like illusionist.
Yeah. So he does like hypnotizing and stuff like that. Yeah. And the big thing for him though was he loved that he had a sense of control over a situation. And I feel like that also relates. It's not just people looking for, you know, what matches their feelings. I feel like we can't just stand there and just say that's the only thing that they're wanting. But I think a sense of control is something that everyone wants in their lives. So if you aren't quite fulfilled, or you're lacking in something, then you go searching for it, and then you've found something where you kind of have a sense of control in your life. Yeah. That's really attractive, isn't it? Yeah. Like that sounds great. Sounds great to me. Yeah. But so I feel like that is also another area that people are a bit like, oh, this is great because I feel like I have control over, you know, because the whole meditation is like, it's about bringing yourself down to a level where you can like be content almost, you know, you're not like, if you're super stressed.
I think they would say it's bringing you up a level.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. Connie knows. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Because it's like.
Yeah. Bring it up to the spirits.
A higher plane?
Higher place. Higher power? I don't know. Yeah. But, you know, the idea of like, okay, you're stressed or your head's all over the shop, and then, right, let's like bring ourselves down here, and then you're at peace with things. And that's a sense of control, isn't it? So that's in the mix.
It is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then, are we really searching for spirituality? Like, if it's just us trying to control situations? Because isn't there an element of spirituality that we all like admit or accept is out of our control? Isn't that like what's appealing to it? Like there's something bigger than us that we like are just a part of? Do you know what I mean? No, you don't know what I mean.
No, wait. Explain though, because I think I have a response.
Okay, cool. But like,
I don't know what you mean. So
the whole idea of we want to control, and like that is the thing. But isn't the appeal of spirituality like understanding, like, and finding almost like respite in my, wow, I'm a part of something bigger? Like, because I think when we're all searching, it's like knowing that I am not enough. Okay, if that's like the base that we're gonna come from, but then also realizing like, wow, like there is a bigger, there's a higher power. There's a, you know, the spiritual realm that you know what I mean? Like that I am a part of it. Isn't like knowing that you're not in control part of what makes it appealing?
I don't know. Interesting thought. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I think the thing, it's hard because this is off of research. This is just off of a few conversations that I've had with people. But from what I understand, it's more like spirituality brings you to a place of like, everyone's on the same level and everyone's connected and everyone's this. So it feels not very unknown to me in the sense of you're not stepping into an unknown. You are in a sense, but like in the idea of like you're rising up and whatever you were saying before. Enlightened, yeah. But not in the sense, but you're just coming to a place where everyone's connected, where you understand what's going on. I feel like anyway. I don't think it, from what I understand, it's not something that takes you to the place of unknown. I don't know. Because I feel
like this is also a very personal thing. And I think it goes back to the whole, why are you searching?
Right. Yeah, sure. Maybe. Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe we're just trying to box everyone in.
Maybe, yeah. But look, that's what we want to do this series is.
Not box people in.
No, but we want to look out. Okay, yeah. Good point. We want to look at how we can not box people in and look at what they actually think. There we go.
Yeah. I was like, I think I know what you mean, but I'm just going to correct that right there.
Right. There's another graph we have.
There is another graph.
Do you want to go through it for us?
Yeah, let's do it. Look at our great visuals.
I will have it. Yeah, no, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up right now.
Right.
Then it comes up.
Okay, so this was, I believe it was in 2020, about Brits. So here we are, this side of the pond now. It says about 2 in 5 Britons believe in a god or a higher power. And basically there's this whole thing. You have your age demographics and then your different things. Dark purple is I believe in God. Light purple is not just God, like a god. So that could be any sort of world religion that has a like explicit god. Then there's the next part, which is I don't believe there is a god, but I do believe there is a higher spiritual power. And then there's like don't know, prefer not to say. And then the I don't believe in God or a spiritual power is like the blue. So in the most of these, like, well, interesting. Yeah. Every time I look at it, I see a different thing. But the thing that really stood out to us in this was ages 25 to 39. There was like a dip in people believing in anything and a higher thing of people saying, I don't believe that there is anything essentially beyond us. So like you've got 16 to 24 and they're like, yeah, like we'll believe in something. There's this dip down. And then once you get to 40 to 50s and 60s, it goes back up to believing in something. And we thought that was really interesting. Yeah. Like, what is it about, I don't know, being 25 to 40 essentially, right? Those years that make us say, actually, I don't think like there's anything beyond us. Like I don't need to search for anything.
Okay, we had it down for 2 things, didn't we? Or just
Did we?
I mean,
I remember one.
Okay, yeah. Well, obviously rebellion. It could be rebellion.
Yeah. Like breaking away from your like
we discussed.
Yeah.
From when you're younger, obviously you have all these things your parents are pushing on you, maybe, or
or you grow up in a certain environment, and then when you get older, you go, okay, I'm going to resist that for a bit, and But one would think that would lead to searching for something.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. I also think it really comes down to experiences as well. And I feel like, maybe, clearly as you get older, then you've kind of been like, okay, I have these experiences in my life. So this is what I'm now going to believe. Yeah. And this is set. When you're younger, I feel like you just kind of follow with whatever is around you, right? Whatever environment you're in. So I think it must come down to experience and what experience you have. And that shapes your beliefs and stuff like that as well. Yeah. That's
also very interesting. I have a book that I said I was going to read earlier, but I sped read it this morning. But basically, it's talking about experience, how we a lot of times will take a spiritual experience that we have and then let that dictate what we believe to be true, and especially religions. Okay, so it's because I had this kind of experience, it must negate this or confirm this religious teaching, right?
Right.
So if we're searching for things, maybe it's also because I can confidently say this, I'm not proud, being in this age demographic, that like when, I lost my train of thought because I was thinking about how old I was.
Oh no.
27. Yeah, don't. Can we like bleep that out? I'm just kidding. That I'm proud about now.
So many things.
So many things.
Yeah, anyway.
We have to get back on track or else this is going to become a therapy session and not a podcast. But being in this age range, right? It's kind of like, I want to be like sure of myself. I want to be, but I think sometimes we are a little bit proud in the fact that like, well, I experienced this must be true. And we kind of have that maybe proving yourself or like, well, I'm 30 now, so I need to be more stable. So I need to, I don't know. So maybe there's something like that like applies to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to read to us. Story time with Courtney.
Come on then.
I gotta
Let's bookmark there. Look.
There we go. Basically, it says nothing about adopting love and compassion as core virtues or meditation and mindfulness as core practices allow us to conclude that all religious beliefs are somehow about the subjective personal experiences we are having, or that truth or falsity of religious beliefs can be discerned from said experience. So basically what that means is like, we can't just say, because I had this one spiritual experience, now I have authority to talk on religious practices and the truth or falsity, like the right or wrong or, of different beliefs, if that makes sense. Okay, so I had this experience, right? And now I think, well, then Christianity can't be real because I had this experience, this spiritual thing. I meditated and I had some sort of revelation, some sort of epiphany, right? Like we become experts based on our experiences.
Right.
But really, that's no grounds to become an expert on anything.
Right.
And I think in this age gap, that is a lot of our mind thinking, right? We've lived a lot more life now, than we did when we were, what was the first age range? Like 14 to 24, And we've had all these real world experiences now. And now because we've experienced something, we've decided that we're experts enough to make our mind up about these big belief things, these big spiritual questions. And I think that is something as well that we will kind of come across. But I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I have an experience does not mean that I can't negate historical facts. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's finding that balance between how does something become personal for you?
Yeah.
And then how does it become something that, I don't know, because you base truth or I feel like you just need a base layer that's truth that is kind of nothing to do with experience or spiritual even or anything like that. And then you kind of, from there, as you journey into that truth, I guess, I don't know if this is a good way of phrasing it, you kind of then make it personal or you discover that there's personal aspects to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But I think
it's just me processing a little bit, but.
As well, it is like that Venn diagram, right? Like religion just by itself without any sense of spirituality is just rules and just trying to do right, and not do wrong. Mm-hmm. Spirituality without any sort of structure, any sort of grounding, any sort of already like, I don't know, spoken moral code for lack of a better word or a better term is this flighty, all about me. I'm going to decide what's right and wrong based on what my experience is, what my whatever. So you need the both, Yeah. And that's when you get in the middle, What was it? The comfort, the ethics. Yeah. That's all I remember. I remember too.
And I would stand here and I'd say, okay, well, I'm a Christian. I believe in a God and I believe that I've got a relationship with him. And, the thing that really separates, got to be careful here maybe a little bit, but one of the things that really separates me from maybe a different religion, I would say is like, it's not, it's the truth of things, but the thing is, you have the same facts that I have. We both are reading the same things almost. Like I've had lots of, I've listened to a couple of theological podcasts recently, and they have the same facts in front of them, but they're interpreting different things.
Yeah.
Right? Bear with me on this, okay? Bear with me.
It's just because you said interpreting.
Oh, no, is that how you say it?
Interpreting? Unless it's different over
is
here.
Is it British? I don't know. Anyway, interpreting. That doesn't sound right. Okay, anyway, whatever, interpreting. But they're taking on, there we go, that's better. different different views. Or you can't prove one or the other.
You're perceiving.
Yeah, I don't know. You can't prove one or the other. You can only prove it about 80, 90%. Nothing is 100%. Like, here are the facts. Here's the way it is. So there has to be an element of, I would say, spirituality or faith, that is how I would describe it. Or that element of relationship, that dials you in a bit more on whatever it is, right? But yeah, that's just a lot of vomiting there. But I don't know. I think when I look at spirituality, I just see it's just about the feelings. That's the way it comes across to me. But when then we're talking about a personal relationship, and I feel like that's what sets almost my faith apart a little bit, is that relationship that I have with God. And so it's really hard to describe to people that it's based off of truth, but at the same time, what really makes it special is like how I'm his child. I'm not, I don't know. I mean, I didn't make any point there, but here's me verbally processing a little bit, but I don't know.
As well, though, like, I feel like it's very tricky because then some people could say, well, that's your experience with it.
Exactly.
Right? Can you argue with, because I'm like, okay, over the next few weeks, we're going to have people that come on and say, well, this was my experience. And it's very hard to, quote unquote, argue. We don't argue, but someone's experience.
It's hard to poke someone's experience. Yeah.
Right. But we even say that about like us, in the Christian circles, it's like, well, like no one can argue against your testimony and all of this, but it's like, okay, yeah, but that's also just my experience. Do you know what I mean? Like it gets so murky that's what I'm trying to say. Personal, as well.
But it is personal. That's what. Yeah, there we go.
But then how do we go about these attacking topics and not people when you could be telling me something about something you believe that I do not believe, but you say, well, that is my experience and these are my experiences, and how do you have this conversation with being like, okay, well, your experience doesn't determine then my truth. Yeah.
But their truth is based off of experiences as well. And I think that's the difference, is like my truth isn't based off of
that experience. Because you chose to believe something.
Yeah. But
that was already set before you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But at the same time, that relationship is a big, big part of my journey. Yeah. Maybe that's a better way of expressing it. My journey rather than like my truth itself.
Would you say that your experience confirms the truth you already believed, as opposed to because you have this experience, now you believe in the truth?
Right. So it's that's the way it is. It confirms what the truth is, rather than it being a case of, okay, I've had these experiences, this is what my truth is.
Because we were talking about confirmation bias was something we were talking about and prepping for this, right? Because there's so many different spiritual routes that you can go down, right? Yeah. And people that are kind of more in the what we're calling the more new age, belief systems or, right? Like there's so many different things, and a lot of them are whatever works for you, it's all kind of the same, but someone that maybe believes in astrology doesn't believe in crystals, for example. And we were saying, how do you, get to one and not the other? But I as well think if you don't have that basis of that truth, right? That okay, I believe in this truth, and then what I experience will confirm that. Yeah. We have people that, maybe they're searching for something, and so they just try something and they experience something that feels right for them. So then they decide that's the truth, but then they're perceiving everything else that happens through that, so they're basing it through their lens of experience. Yeah. Right. So then, if I believe in, I don't know, angel numbers, I don't know if you know about angel numbers, right? Then I'm going to see it, or all these different things. And I'm going to, or crystals, I, have a special crystal for a special type of situation. So when I'm in that situation, everything that I'm going to see is going to confirm, because we all have confirmation bias. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that keeps us narrow-minded as well in our spirituality. Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're going to be unpacking in this series, which is super exciting and very challenging for us. And I love that. Yep. But we want to know, what people are searching for, why they're searching. And something that I'm really interested to hear as well is if they feel like they found their quote unquote answer, or if it's just kind of this is kind of what I've got for right now. Let's see if something better comes along.
Part of the journey they're on. Yeah. Because remember when we were talking to Ian, he was like, if there's something different out there, then I'll jump on board with that. And that was so interesting to me. Yeah. Because when you're convinced on something, you don't think like that, do you? Or you're not as open. You're like, well, I think I found the truth, You would be a lot more like that, rather than being like, no, if there's something better, then I'll do that kind of thing. So that's really interesting.
I think it's always that searching for fulfillment, and it's, well, if I have an experience that, you know what I mean? And it's experience that leads to truth, as opposed to truth that leads to experience. Yeah.
And experience needs to confirm your truth, not the other way around. Yeah. Boom. Wow. There we go. This is great. After all of that verbal, I was talking to my dad and mum yesterday, and this is something, he literally said it, he was talking about the journey, and yeah, I was like, oh yeah, why don't I?
There you go.
I was trying to get there.
Greg coming in with the facts.
Yeah, Gregory.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Anyway, guys, we hope that this helps you process things as well. Our little verbal processing session. But we are so excited for the next few weeks. Got some good things lined up, some things that we're hoping to get lined up as well. And yeah, so hopefully we'll find some answers as we...
And we really want to be challenging a lot more going forward as well. And asking tough questions.
Yes.
And
we are learning a lot.
Yes, we're in a journey team, so
welcome with us as we become great whoa.
Like
podcast
that.
show hosts. Podcos. Yeah. Hey, that's a good one. Anyway, until next week, Zach, where can they find us?
We are on the Anchor of the Week at Instagram. Oh, so the other way around, sorry. We're on Instagram at the Anchor of the Week. There we go. And YouTube and all podcast platforms, as well as our TikTok at the Anchor Week.
Yeah.
I think that's everything.
There it is. I mean, at this point, hopefully everyone knows. But until then, guys, catch us there.
See you later.